Well, hello and welcome to the Carl Blemming channel. I have a little story to tell you about a plumbing disaster in the house. Now all this happened, it was about 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday. And nobody was in the house all day after I went to work. I went to work in the morning and my brother was in town, so I met him after work. And we went to visit somebody, did some errands, I think. Stopped for dinner at this place in downtown Schenectady called Pinhead Susan's, sort of an Irish pub, and it was pretty good. I recommend it. But anyway, we both went back to the house because he was going to be sleeping there that night. So I unlock the door, the side door, and walk in and flip the light on, and the first thing that I notice is that things are knocked off the tables and things are on the floor. And my first thought was, oh, somebody broke in and was rummaging through stuff trying to find something valuable. Yeah, good luck. And then, of course, water was everywhere on the floor. My brother noticed the water first because he was behind me. But basically, what had happened with things being knocked off, the ceiling tiles in the kitchen were soaked full of water. And they were so heavy and they were nailed up there, of course, but they were so heavy they just fell down and then hit stuff and knocked things over. What had happened, I pieced all this together afterwards, but I think it was caused by some kind of water main break in the area. And there was, we're on the city water here, and I think there was like this big buildup of pressure in the water system. And it came into the house and burst a pipe which was underneath the sink in the upstairs bathroom. And it also broke a gasket on the kitchen sink downstairs. So what happened? Now the main leak was in the upstairs bathroom with this hose. There was a supply pipe, where water comes into the sink. So even though the sink was off, water was just pouring out of this broken pipe, and it was pouring out. There's like a cabinet under the sink with doors, but that whole thing was soaked, and a lot of the stuff that was in there had to be thrown out. But it's not a big deal. You can replace that stuff. But water poured out from underneath the sink onto the floor, and now there's a radiator in the bathroom that there's a pipe that comes up into the radiator which goes through the floor. There's like ceramic tiles on the floor in the bathroom. So I think what happened is the water just like poured down that hole where the radiator pipe came up through the floor, through the tile. And once it got down in the space between the upstairs and the downstairs, it just kind of spread out, and then it was just soaking down. And it went down in the kitchen, and also there's a smaller bathroom downstairs, which is right underneath the upstairs bathroom. So, and there's like insulation in the walls, fiberglass insulation, which was soaked. And a lot of the ceiling fell down, and we actually tore down some of the ones that didn't fall down because they were wet. And that ceiling tile material, let me tell you, when it gets wet, it stinks. The odor in there was, it's a kitchen. You didn't want to eat anything out of that kitchen. It was pretty bad. But anyway, what happened was we called an emergency plumber line, a roto-rooter. Had a local person who could come out at any time, and he came out, and I was describing the situation to him over the phone, and he was mystified by it. There was one thing he didn't get. He said, normally, if a pipe breaks open, water will continuously pour out of that pipe until someone actually goes to the water shutoff valve and turns the water off. But in our case, it seemed to have water seems to have poured out for a couple of hours and then stopped. So everything was wet, but it wasn't just like continuously pouring down. So the guy came out, a guy named Rob, um, and he looked it over, and um, he didn't, he couldn't figure out what to do about it other than turn the water off, which we did. I think we actually did that before he got there. We just wanted to turn it off just in case. And so he didn't charge us for anything because he didn't actually do anything. He said that that's one thing that's good about that company is if they don't, if they just look and don't do anything, they don't charge you, which was cool. But he said he was going to send someone out the next day because by this time it was like 11 p.m. Everybody was closed. So he was going to send someone out the next day and fix the pipe that burst. Oh, and that night we didn't know what had broken, but my brother had the water was turned off that night. He turned the water on just to test it, and then water started gushing out of that underneath that sink. So that's how we knew where the break was. So he let's see. Next day, plumber came and fixed the pipe. He fixed the thing in the kitchen sink. What was broken there. So the plumbing is all set, but now we had this huge mess, and we had mopped it up into buckets and taken all the wet tiles, put them into trash bags, and just threw them in the garage because we didn't know what to do, just to put them somewhere, And there was toilet paper and bars of soap and stuff like that, which were soaked, which had to be thrown out. That was underneath the sink. But basically, we just cleaned it up as best we could, and then I figured I'd deal with it when I could, because things were kind of crazy at work and various things going on in the family, so I didn't really have time to actually deal with it. So, but I did eventually call the insurance company. They opened a claim. Yeah, just this past week I had 3 people there at the same time. I had the insurance adjuster, I had the guy from the construction company, and also somebody that the insurance company hired. And this was something called a mitigation company. I didn't know what this was until now, but these are people that like clean up after disasters. But in our case, what they do is they come in and they just dry out, because it was water damage. They just dried everything out. And they just put in like dehumidifiers and blowers and heating elements in the walls, and they cut holes here and there so that the air can flow, and they just stop the damage as soon as they can, and then the construction can happen later, but the key thing is they just want to stop like mold from forming or mildew or anything. They just want to just dry everything out. So that's what's going on right now. In a minute I'll show you all the fans and machines are in the kitchen right now. I'll show those to you if you want. Now, I was worried about structural damage, but the guy from the construction company said that like structural beams in a house, typically if it's underwater for like a week or two, then you got to worry about it. But if it's just water flowing over them for a couple hours, then that's not an issue. So I guess that's good. And as far as the mystery as to why water was not continuously pouring out, I think what happened, I heard in the news there was a water main break in the area, and I think what happened is, I know that there's some kind of valve in the water system which prevents water from flowing back into the system from the house. So my thinking is maybe that valve got clogged somehow with like debris from the pipe, like rust or mineral deposits or something. So maybe it was blocked off or slowed down enough where water was not just pouring down out of the ceiling. Even though it was like when we got there, it was like raining inside. So it was just coming down. But it was a crazy night, let me tell you. But anyway, let me show you fans in the kitchen that are drying everything out right now. So this area up here is pretty much where it started to come down, and see the ceiling tiles. A lot of them are either fell down or were removed. The mitigation company had to cut this hole in the wall here to dry it out because there was some wet insulation inside. And I know it's kind of noisy in here. This is like a blower which is pushing heated air up in here, and it's been running for a couple days to dry this out. They also cut a few extra holes in the ceiling to help the air flow. This is a dehumidifier, which is pulling all of the moisture out of the air, and it's going through this tube into the sink. Got two more blowers over here because this small bathroom here, there was a lot of water coming down through here. They cut the ceiling out of this to open it up. And this hole in the wall here also. They're saying if they could put a hole in this wall, that would avoid opening up all the walls inside here. So that would make the repair job easier. So that's the way they did it. Yeah, when I came back here on that night, this light was on, and water was just flowing down through the wall, and it was coming down off of this switch. It was just pouring off of it, and there's like a glass thing which goes on here, which was open on the top, and water was in there, and of course there's an electrical contact in there. The whole thing was like arcing and sizzling, and shorting, making all sorts of scary noises. And steam was coming off of it. So I ran down in the basement and, hit the circuit breaker and cut the power to this room. So this is what the kitchen looks like now. The insurance company is going to cover it. We've got a deductible to pay, but it's a hassle, to say the least. And these things have been running for a couple days, these machines, so the mitigation company guy is going to stop by this afternoon and pick these up. So it's pretty much dried out. Then we have to wait for to hear from the construction company and see when they can start. Yeah, so that's it. The guy's coming to pick those things up today, and then within the next week or so, I'm expecting to hear from the construction company, see when we can schedule someone to come in and replace the walls that were cut open, and all the ceiling tiles, of course. Maybe some of the trim where the walls meet the ceiling, and fortunately I went into a closet upstairs and I found a roll of that exact type of wallpaper, so they can use that to so they don't have to rip. That's one thing they were saying, is it's hard to find an exact match on wallpaper that was put up decades ago. So I was fortunate to find that lying around in the house. So yeah, I keep saying I'm fortunate. I don't know if I'm that fortunate to have this happen to me, but I don't know. I guess it could have been worse, and we'll just deal with it. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.